Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Just from that brief 30-second conversation, I was like, oh, she's a bag of fun.
I try to be. I
Right.
try to be.
That's
I
a
just
good
think,
thing.
oh, thank you. I just think that, there's so much wonderful things about the world and there's so much bad things and I'm like, if I could be one of the good things, why not?
Well, we should all be one of the good things. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
why not start with positivity?
Yeah. And humor. I think humor is such a great thing. I saw a TikTok yesterday, and someone and we had some massive snow the last couple of days in Canada, and um, somebody is and then someone's like, "Oh, I drove by my kid's school and saw a sign that said kindness should be like snow, let's sprinkle and enjoy." And then he's like, "There's too much snow, so there's too much kindness." I'm like, "There is never too much kindness. Stop it."
There's never too much kindness, but there can be too much snow.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
mm, yeah. Again, thank you for joining me on the Chronically Well podcast.
Thank
This
you
is
for having
yeah.
me.
You're welcome. Look, I reached out to you. Look, I don't. It was probably the day after I first saw your profile. I saw all these colors and was like, and this is the quickest like turnaround, like for real, like from inviting a guest to a guest being on. Usually it's about 2 to 3 months.
Hmm.
But I wanted to travel around the world for the month of March releases. And I was like, I want to get as many people as I can get in. And I was like, I've only previously recorded with one person that has any Chinese, no, two people, matter of fact, that has any background of Chinese descent. One was Crystal. I don't know if you know Crystal. She's out in California. She's actually Chinese and Filipino, I think. Chinese and Filipino. Crystal Diaz. And there's a recent person I recorded with named Tony.
Mm.
She'll be released next month also.
I sadly don't know those. I sadly don't know them. I'll look for them.
Look, I don't know them either, but this,
Well, I mean,
this space brings us together. That's what it is. It's this space.
Well, actually, I did listen to some of your podcasts, and I added the you most recently released. I forgot his name, but he's a comedian.
Kelsey.
And yeah, Kelsey. So I added him, and he added me right away. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so quick!" I usually don't have. Well, I want to say on the record, thank you for being so accommodating to me. Like I said, like I'm usually very flexible with my schedule, but now with working corporate, I don't have the flexibility. I just happen to I requested this day off. And I was like, listen, I can only do it today. And I'm like, can you please just squeeze me in? So I really want to thank you for accommodating me. And I'm really excited. You're my first podcast. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what to say or talk about, but I like to go with the flow kind of
That's how it
feeling.
is. It's an organic conversation for real, like wholesome and organic. Like there's nothing truly prepared. I have a few questions, but I love having conversations with my people. Like for real, it's like you're a sister that I haven't seen in a while.
I love
We're
that.
just rekindling like old emotions and feelings, seeing how you've been over the last 20 years.
I love that.
Right.
That
So
makes it easy.
that's how, look, I've had people like with severe anxiety join, and probably about 10 minutes in, I'm like, how are you feeling? They're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, we got
Yeah,
this.
that's the best answer. Is what do you mean? I feel like I think it's such a I think you created such a wonderful atmosphere and a safe space that makes people feel like I'm okay. Like so it's kudos to you. It's a really special skill. Not many people have that.
It's a learned skill. Like I'm learning more and more each day with it. But again, yes, thank you for joining me on the Chronically Well podcast, where we have real conversations with community that need to be heard. And Betsy, you're definitely someone that needs to be heard.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much.
Could you please give our audience a summary of who you are?
Absolutely. So, my name is Betsy. I am a Canadian. I don't know why I wanted to put it out there, but I'm a Canadian. I am classified as latent autoimmune diabetes in adults. So it's either known as LADA. That's why my Instagram name is LADA Diabetic B. And it's also known as type 1.5, I've learned very early on. I was diagnosed in 2008, but when I was originally diagnosed, they diagnosed me as type 2. I was 22, and I thought to myself, there's no way I'm type 2. I was doing a lot of sports. I was doing so many different things. Because again, when you don't know a chronic illness of any kind, you're kind of just going off by what you know by general, right? So I was like, well, I don't eat too much junk food. I don't drink a lot of bad things, and I play so many. I was playing soccer competitively and everything. So how is this happening to me? So I didn't understand it at first, and as I kind of saw my first diabetic team, my endocrinologist at the time started saying, I think you're more like type 1.5. And I've never heard of it. And most people haven't. Most people, when they think of diabetes, they think of type 1, type 2, right? But even as I created my Instagram page, I think it was last year, I've also learned, besides me, like LADA and type 1 and type 2, there were so many more that I've never even heard of. So that's what's so wonderful about being in this diabetic community. It goes kind of with any chronic illness, but I'm going to speak diabetes just because that's what we're in, right? I've never felt such support and so much love, and to learn so much. I feel like it's an endless education, and I love that. I love meeting all different types of diabetics all around the world. The two diabetics you mentioned, I have never met them. I am going to look for them on your page afterwards and add them. I did add an individual that is from Japan, if you're interested. She's under my page and under followers. She is the sweetest thing. We've talked a couple times because she sent me pictures. I told her I went to Japan about 2 years ago, and then she sent me all these wonderful pictures. And I was like, this is so wonderful. So that's kind of why it's, to learn all these different types of diabetes, right? So I honestly just started doing my diabetes page just because I don't know any other LADAs out there at the time. I was like, I don't know any diabetics I have come across. It's like you're instantly like kindred spirits. You're like, oh my God, I'm also wearing a CGM. I'm also wearing an insulin pump. Which one are you wearing? And we start talking about different things. And, like I wrote in my bio, like fingerprints, just because I meet somebody who's also a diabetic who has the exact same symptoms on paper, we don't treat it the same. It's very different. And I think that's where there is a frustrating component, because sometimes if you don't meet the right endocrinologist and your right diabetic team, they will just kind of treat you as like, you're like this on paper. Let me treat you the same as I treat another person. And it's not, They shouldn't be doing that. They should be like seeing you as an individual and treating you for what you need and what works for your life, right? So I'm kind of veered off topic. I tend to do that. So just kind of rein me back in.
Look, I'm just gonna hop right in.
Just come on in.
So when I did first see your name, LADA, and your Instagram handle, I was like, I have to invite her as a guest, because I said, I know having LADA in your Instagram handle probably gives you more of a space of your own. And also, there are many people that have been diagnosed with LADA, and not until they find a great community do they realize, like, it's no different than type 1.
Yeah.
So I know everyone that follows me and that I follow or type 1 related somehow. And that's totaling probably like 8,000 people. So I run a group that's connected to the podcast called the Chronically Well Podcast Instagram group, and it's maxed out at 250 people. So recently I started a Discord channel also, So it's all people of color living with or helping care for type 1 diabetes. And I'm going to let you know, at least half of the group has said that they were diagnosed with LADA.
Oh, that's so great to hear.
Because this is what I consider LADA truly. Because we know that not until I think it was the mid 1970s did they identify type 1 diabetes as juvenile diabetes because there were so many older people that were presenting the same symptoms as these juveniles where they changed the name.
Mhm.
So it was like, okay, kids have juvenile diabetes. Adults, when they're diagnosed, we got to give them a different name, a different title.
Mhm.
So for the most part, that was LADA.
Yeah.
And to me, like LADA is like to some people, well, to many, they say it's like an extended honeymoon.
Yeah.
And so there's type 1, there's type 2. LADA,
Okay.
because 1.5 shows signs of type 1 and type 2.
Mhm.
So it would be like if you're type 1 with insulin resistance,
Mhm.
they would consider that type 1.5. Then we
Mhm.
have MODY,
Mhm.
gestational, um, Alzheimer's,
Mhm.
which is considered like a type 3. And then
Mhm.
you have type 3C is like a lot of people who've had like Whipple surgery, where they had to remove part of the pancreas, and
Mhm.
now they're really type 1.
Yeah, they are. Like
Yeah.
they're essentially almost like a LADA almost, I want to say. So the funny thing is about what you're saying is so the reason why I see myself as type 1 and LADA is because when my first endocrinologist told me that, they said you have symptoms of type 1 and type 2, like you said. So that's why they said you're a type 1 and 1.5. And so and then obviously as the years go on, this was 2008. So I'm going on 17 years right now, right? So obviously as the years gone by, it's become more clear that I'm more of a LADA. So that's why I kind of just go, you know what? I'm going to dip my toes in both shoes and just be like, I'm a type 1.5 and I'm a LADA.
Hmm. Look, and I tell her, I said, if you've been living with type 1 for so long, you're going to have some insulin resistance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, whether you're a child or an adult.
Yeah. I'm like I said, this is my 17th year being a diabetic, but I know I can never I can't fathom, and I got it when I was 22, right? And the 22 is also kind of like that's an age where you're self-discovery. You're young adult. You're trying to figure things out about your life. I can't imagine when you're like, and I've heard of parents talk about their children and watching the resilience of children being able to go through that and be proud that they're like, Dad, this is my insulin pump, this is my CGM, and I'm wearing it. Like, good for you guys. Like, I don't know if I have that courage at that age. So I admire anyone, but mostly kids that can just be like, yeah, this is my insulin pump. Look at it. I'm like, that's
Right.
cool, man. I'm proud of you. I wish I had that confidence when I was your age.
A confidence with anything like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that
Um,
too.
I was listening to a Juicebox podcast yesterday, and there was a mom whose son had been showing signs and symptoms of type 1 diabetes, and she's a type 1 diabetic. And
Mm,
she went and got like auto antibody testing done for him and found out that he had these auto antibodies. So
mm,
she was like, she's a epidemiologist, so she knows the sciences of different things. And she was like, she was going to sign him up for Tgil,
mm.
teplizumab. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Uh, is it ice? Is that the insulin with the gray pen? Is that what you're talking
No,
about?
so
Okay,
it's
sorry.
not. It's not insulin. It's a
Sorry.
infusion therapy that
Hmm.
can prolong the onset of type 1 diabetes if you're
Oh.
in stage 2 type 1.
Hmm.
And so she went and got him through that. It's FDA approved. It's been for like I think the last 2 or 3 years. And she said that he has a CGM on, and she was like talking to him about type 1 diabetes, and he'll eventually be diagnosed and whatnot. And he was okay with it. She was like,
Hmm.
I just wanted to let you know because you're 14 and a lot of kids go through this burnout stage where they don't want to give insulin and just like forget it. And he's like, Mom, He's like, isn't this going to keep me alive? And she's
Mhm.
like, yeah. And he's like, so why do people choose not to give it? It was that simple. Like,
Yeah.
and
And it's
he was like,
amazing because I love, and I just post a lot of memes. That's just kind of my thing. I go, I like that, let me repost it. I like that, let me repost it. And one of the things I reposted a couple of times was insulin is our life support. And I love to see that because a lot of people, and who are diabetic, like most, no, I want to say non-diabetics don't understand the importance of insulin. Like they're like, yeah, it keeps you alive. It's like, yeah, it really does keep us alive. Without it, we cannot survive. And I mean, I'm kind of going off another topic, but I just think that any life-saving medication should be free around the world. That's just my general thinking. Um, I'm lucky where I have like private insurance, but also there was a time where I didn't have it, but I had resources that allowed me to access insulin when I couldn't afford it. And I think that should be like that everywhere around the world, and not just for insulin. I'm talking about any life-saving medication because you shouldn't have to choose, oh, I need this medication or I got to pay for rent or I got to pay for groceries. Like you shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to choose. Like stuff like that should be free.
you
That's just
should have.
my
No,
personal
it's
opinion.
not just yours. It's not just yours. It's the truth. Like you would not tell someone, oh, you need an oxygen tank because your body isn't producing enough,
Mhm.
but I can't give you it. You got to pay
Yeah.
like thousands of dollars for it,
Yeah,
or
like
someone who's on dialysis. Like
yeah.
you don't tell them that. Someone who needs an inhaler,
Hmm.
they get it.
Yeah.
But insulin, everyone's like, oh, you need insulin?
Yeah,
Can't
here's
you go a
that's
day without it? Or
if you want me to go into DKA, sure.
right.
And
And
that's not fun either. Like, oh, I experienced it once and I never want to go through it ever, ever again. Oh my gosh.
never.
And it's, I think also, to your point about the mom with her son, and um she's right though. I don't think it's just teenagers. I think even as like a young adult, you rebel. So I remember my DKA happened because I went back to school in my late 20s and my early 30s, and I remember in my last year I was working for the school, and I remember just feeling really tired because at the time I was doing manual injection. So I will have like a fast acting and a long acting, and I wasn't taking my long acting for like 2 days, and it's bad. And I was surprised I was even surviving. And all of a sudden, I wasn't feeling well, and I just like something was wrong because my body's like, "Where's your insulin? We need insulin. Where is it? Where is it?" Right? So I remember just having to call my boyfriend, being like, "You need to pick me up from school, and you need to take me to the hospital because." And they were like, you cannot do that to yourself. And they're like, well, why did you stop taking it? And I was like, well, I was just really stressed and I was studying late at night and I would fall asleep studying and forgetting to take my shots. And they're like, you can't do that. You can't do that because now this is what's happening. So I do not wish DKA on anybody. I don't care how tired you are. Just take a quick, if you take a manual shot, and that's where the insulin pump also comes into play, which is so wonderful. I can do that now and not worry that like I don't have insulin in my body because I wear an insulin pump. But like if you're doing manual shots, I would really highly, no matter how tired you are, no matter where you are, if you're partying, I don't care, go somewhere private, give yourself a shot and keep going. That's fine. Like, don't ever neglect that. So that's something that's so important that you can't, this is your, like, like I said, insulin is your life support. If you don't got it, man, like you're really walking a fine line, and that's really dangerous. And I don't wish that
It's
on any diabetic.
extremely dangerous. And insulin shouldn't be treated as a privilege
Hmm.
or an option because people who don't have insulin dependence, um, their body is automatically the insulin hormone is regulating to the different variables. And it's
Hmm.
not just food. It could be anxiety driven, any type of hormonal change in weather, temperature, climate, sickness. And they don't realize that. So I think it's like, okay, you're sick. Yep, your body's producing more insulin, but we're sick internally always
Hmm.
because we don't have that insulin production being cycled. And
Hmm.
they truly don't get it, no matter how much you try to break it down to them.
Yeah. And it's like I had to explain to my niece has seen me wear my insulin pump many times, and I don't. To this day, I cannot find. And I've asked this question out to the community on my page before, being like, "How do you sleep with your insulin pump?" Because I sleep with a belt, and I'm sick of it, and I just want to. And people are like giving me wonderful suggestions. They were saying some people just sleep freely with it, and I'm like, I don't trust myself to do that. Like, I don't know how you just kind of leave it beside you and like you sleep. I think that's very brave. I can't do that. Some other people suggested other kind of garter belts or something.
What
But
pump do you use?
yeah, I use the tandem insulin,
T-Slim.
T-Slim. Yeah. So my niece has seen it many times, and she's like 6, 7. Like she's turning 7, I believe, this year. And she's seen it many times prior, but she still asks what it is. And I'm like, how do I explain to a 7-year-old that this thing keeps me alive? And that's what I started saying. I'm like, this little machine here keeps your aunt alive. And she's like, why? I'm like, because there's liquid in here called insulin, and that's what keeps me alive. And I'm like trying to simplify it because she's very
Hmm.
smart, but how do I explain to a 7-year-old this insulin is produced in your body by an organ, and like she's not going to understand any of that. Well, she could. I don't know. I can't judge,
Right.
but like I just have to tell her this little thing keeps your aunt alive. Just know that. And she's like, okay, and that's good enough for her.
Right. It's
And I
like,
often,
how do you compare it to something that she uses,
mhm,
and you're like, what does she use to keep herself alive? Like, and
yeah,
as a 6-year-old, like, life and death, you don't truly have true like feeling or calculation of what that truly means. It's like here
yeah,
and there.
it's
Like
very
it's
black
here
and
or
white
it's
to
gone.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is that's what I started saying, and she's like, okay, that keeps you alive. Okay, and I've said this many times, well, written many times, that diabetes and any chronic illness, but again, we're just going to talk about diabetes. We are so much more than a Google search. You can't be like, what is diabetes? And then you get like a general like
Mm.
description of it. That's why I'm an inquisitive individual by nature. So if I meet somebody that is like, that has something that I don't understand, I would ask about it. Be like, tell me, explain it to me, educate me, tell me what it is. So then I can be like, oh, okay. And then tell me about your experiences. Tell me what it is. Right. And I wish more people who, if you talk to a diabetic, like, ask them those questions. Like I love it when people ask me. Like there's no shame in it. Like it's not rude. I don't think, unless you come up to me and go, "You're diabetic." That's different. But if you come up to me and you have a general curious nature of why, like, talk to me about your diabetes. Tell me about it. Like, why do you see this? How do you survive? So you have an organ in your body that doesn't work, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work. So it's just occupying rent for free right now in my body. Like I don't like. So I wish people were, instead of just being like, oh, you ate too much candy as a child. Is that why you became a diabetic? No, it's not so black and white like that. It's like a rainbow. There's so many complexities and different colors of how you became a diabetic, right? How anyone becomes a diabetic. So
Right. Right.
I just
Because
wish
you
people,
you were diagnosed heading into adulthood, 22 years young. I too was diagnosed at in my 20s at 20,
yeah.
which is 22 years ago.
Hmm.
And we know that we had everything in front of us. Like we knew the trajectory. We may
Hmm.
not lean towards it or stayed on the path, may
Hmm.
have hop, skipped, and jumped a few borders and boundaries, but we knew what we were going to be and do. Like you
Hmm.
knew you were athletic and had this mind to just go.
Yeah.
And me equally, like I remember like spending all day, all night, whether it was on a basketball court, football field, track, whatever,
Hmm.
just outside doing whatever freely with
Hmm.
no like second guessing it. And then we became adults.
Yeah.
We became like real adults where we had to like buckle in, like we were forced to. I
Yeah,
wasn't
we were.
ready. I was not ready to do this.
This was not on my life plan. Come
It
on, like,
was
like it was like
not.
this, and then it's like this. Like you're like, what the heck? Like, and I remember I was a bad diabetic. I think so. You and I were probably diagnosed around the same time. Diabetic technology, I wasn't introduced to it till later in my life. So
Same.
I was such a bad diabetic. I will admit that. In my first couple of years, because the finger pricking and da da da, I did my manual shots, no problem. You want me to guesstimate how many carbs I'm eating and like go for it? No problem. You want me to poke my finger and
Same.
remember to poke my finger? No, no, I
Nope.
didn't. I was like, no, no, I'm not going to remember that. Like, I could be out doing something. You want me to pop out my blood glucose monitor and go boink and no, like, I'm not going to do
Go
that. Especially
boink.
as
Let
especially as
me
a
add this for a title.
especially as a 20 as a in your early 20s, even in your 20s in general, you're again, like, you just turn to an adult, you're trying to figure out your life, your trajectory in your life, and then you get thrown this wild curveball and you're trying to figure out how to manage it, and you're like going to all these doctor's appointments because they're trying to figure out how to do it because you're not giving your numbers and you're not doing this, and you're just like, it was so frustrating. I remember and having so much breakdowns for the first couple of years because I was so frustrated. I was like, if I didn't have diabetes, I would be doing this. If I didn't have diabetes, I would be doing that, and blah 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 blah. You have that mindset naturally, especially when you're diagnosed later in your life, right? But now my mindset, being a little wiser, I like to think, is diabetes is lucky to be joining me on my adventures. Like, like I said, I went to Japan 2 years ago, I went to Singapore, I went to Hong Kong. I lived in Thailand for 3 months. You know, all being a diabetic, I've gotten much more tattoos. I've gotten jobs. I gotten so, it has, diabetes has stopped my life. And that's something I really had to wrap my head around, because instead of blaming diabetes, I started seeing as like, you know what? It's lucky it's in my life to take it, like, to go on the ride of my life. It has its falls. Like, I still get really frustrated when I get lows and that blaring alarm of like my Dexcom and like my Tandem going off saying you have a low at like 4 in the morning.
Mhm.
But overall, like, it's not an end all. Like, I really see it as, diabetes is just along for the ride of my life. So hold on tight because I'm gonna have fun.
Hold on tight because you're going to have fun. Let me write that down too. Yeah. Again, being diagnosed at 22 for you, 20 for me. This is what I compare it to when people ask, like, how is it living with diabetes? I'm like, imagine being this free-spirited young adult yourself at 22. And then all of a sudden, like, you did nothing and someone just gave you an infant.
Yeah.
Like, and you were forced to take care of this infant. Like,
Like,
you know,
voluntold to do it.
yes, yes, like, here's your baby. And you're like, I didn't do anything for this baby to get here.
I
Like,
didn't ask for a baby. Where did that come
right,
from?
like, and then the baby just starts screaming and crying, and you're like, I gotta figure this out. I gotta,
Yeah.
like, okay, let me figure out what this baby needs to eat. Let me figure out how to calm it down and all of these things. And
Yep.
every day you're giving that infant because that
Yep.
baby is never the same. You're
No,
like,
you're
hold
right.
on, this is not the baby I went to sleep with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
And it really is. And I did a fun experiment earlier this week. I ate the same things for 2 days. Same bolus and everything into
mhm,
my insulin pump Tandem. And my number, it was different. My numbers were all different. And that's the thing. That was and I already knew that, but just for
right.
fun, I wanted to be like, maybe I was like, maybe just let me just see it. Also just shut my husband up to be like, see, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I put in my pump. It's the same. It goes like this or it goes like this. So, and that's the thing too, is what people don't understand is you can do the same thing every flipping day. Eat the same thing every flipping day. Drink the same thing, same time too. Doesn't matter. Your numbers are always going to fluctuate. You cannot predict what your body's. And the other thing people don't understand too, as non-diabetics, is it's not just stuff you ingest that raises your sugar levels. It's the outside. It's external factors. And I'll give you an example. So when I was back in school, I remember waking up to a perfect number. I don't know what the conversion is for the States, but in Canada, it was like 7.4. So it was like a perfect number. It was like a number you dream of waking up with. So, I go about, brush my teeth, wash my face, pack for school, drive to school, which is half an hour, got out of my car, walked to class, sat down. That's all I did. Didn't eat anything, didn't drink nothing. Check my numbers again, and it bumped up to 10.4. And all I did was walk. All I did was get up, walk, move. So I think what other people need to understand, it's not just what you ingest that affects the sugar levels, it's the external factors. So when you're out driving, it could be your hormones, it could be stress, it could be work, it could be a lot of different external factors that can cause your sugar levels to also go up. And I don't think people don't understand that. If you're a diabetic, you know that. I can walk here to my car. It's like when we exercise. That's why you have to also be careful how much insulin you're putting in before you go work out, because you use up more, right? So you need to make sure you don't get a low while you're working out as well. Hence why I
Yeah.
always carry candies on me when so here I am working out, and you see like a bag of candy there, and they're just like, why do you have a bag of candy when you're working out? I'm like,
because my diabetes is a toddler now. Like, I gotta give it some candy to calm it down. Like,
and then I could get a low, so here I am on the treadmill, and I'm just like eating candy. It was
crazy.
like looking at you. It's like, what are you doing? I'm like, the diabetes thing. And they're like, oh, got it. Yeah, okay.
I had posed a question maybe about 4 or 5 months ago. I was like, it was something I posted in a story. I was like, have you ever took food to the shower?
Yeah, I done that.
And everyone was like all the diabetics was like, yeah. And people who aren't, they're like, what? Like, that's disgusting. That's gross. Like, you're in the bathroom with, and I'm like, this is my lifesaver. Like,
yeah. And the amount of times I've had sugar lows after my shower, like I'll feel it in the shower. I'm like, oh my God, no, I still have shampoo in my hair. No. Like so like I've learned to start putting like candies outside, like, so I could pop out the door and be like, okay, let me eat some candies. Let me wait, and then we're good. I can keep going with my shower routine. But that's a really good point. And people, again, they don't, and these sugar lows happen so unexpectedly and out of nowhere. And it can get, it's very frustrating when it happens sometimes too, because like here you are and you're like maybe working. I remember I work in an office now, right? So here I am working away, typing away. And all of a sudden you hear my phone blare out an alarm predicting a low. And my coworkers who are not diabetics, they're like, what's that sound? Is that another Amber Alert? I'm like, no, it's not an Amber Alert. It's just my diabetes telling me I'm having a sugar low. I'm okay, And unfortunately, like my husband's used to hearing those alarms now at 3 a.m. And at the beginning, it used to be like, oh my God, like he'll be like, oh no, are you okay? But then now he's like, do you have candy? Yeah. Okay, good. And then he'll like go back to sleep because it's like, because we've been together for like 10 years. So he's like used to hearing those sounds, but he also, that's the other component too, is when you have a partner that supports you when you're with your chronic illness, that is like a gift. And the amount of times my husband will recognize my lows before I would recognize it, he'll be like, he'll be like, oh, he's like, are you okay? What's your numbers at? Oh, it's going down. He sees the arrow on my phone. Okay, let me go get you a drink. And he'll like go and get it, and to have that support is it's such a gift.
It means everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember, like me and my wife, we've been married for 13 years now.
Oh, congratulations.
Time goes by fast when you're having fun.
Yeah.
But I remember when I first got my Dexcom, because I had Libre for like 2 years. But when I first got my Dexcom and she was able to follow me, like, and she works in a hospital setting and a surgical assistant, and she doesn't get the breaks and whatnot. But she had her Apple Watch on, and she's like anytime she gets some time, she'd call me, be like, "Are you okay? Like, what's going on? What's going on?" And I'm like, it's normal now. I'm like, now like my blood, like our blood sugar fluctuates, like different things. I said, I'm not doing anything. I'm not eating. I'm just relaxing. And she's like,
that's
okay,
so sweet that she's like calling you right away. Like, oh my God, you okay? I just got this on my, like that's so special. Like to find partners. I remember before I met my husband, and I would be really ashamed to tell new people I'm dating that I'm a diabetic, because I'll be like, what if they don't accept me as a diabetic? And then there's that mindset too of like, if they don't accept me as a diabetic, they're never gonna accept me for who I really am. You don't want to be with that person. You want to be with someone who sees you for all your perfections and your imperfections. And like my husband thinks I trip on flat surfaces. That's just one of my flaws. My husband would be like, there's a flat surface, just be careful. Like, because you're going to trip on yourself. But he finds that absolutely adorable. But I find it the most irritant of my life. I'm like, I can't walk without tripping. I don't know what to do, and I trip on my own feet. But he finds it absolutely adorable. But you want to find somebody that sees your flaws as special, right? So finding a supportive partner is also incredibly such a vital. It's such like I said, it's like a gift. It's like a bonus in your life because not a lot of people out there are going to understand. And this doesn't just go with diabetes. It goes with any chronic illness you have or any kind of things in your, I don't want to say detriment, but like things in your life that you see as a burden, but but someone who truly loves you does not see that as a burden, and they're happy to go along with you for that. That's special. So I'm just saying.
They can not only can they predict your falls, but they love you so much that they really want to be there to prevent your falls and pick you up if you do stumble or fall. And like, yeah, that's a true blessing, a true gift, because most people don't have that. They don't have that person who, when you're in the kitchen, this is myself, like a few months ago, while I'm in the kitchen and my blood sugar is dropping low and fast, and I'm sitting there like trembling, and I'm trying to figure it out. Like I'm at the refrigerator trying to figure it out. And my wife comes up to me and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like I can't even get the words out. And she takes the palm of her hand, puts it in the small of my back, and just starts rubbing it and be like, and she takes her other hand, reaches into the refrigerator, pours some orange juice, and is like, "Here you go, babe." And I'm like, I got tears coming down my eyes. And she's like, "I got this." Like,
that's so special.
We deserve that.
Yeah, we do. We deserve that. And I agree. Like we're the lucky ones. We have people that support us and want to, not forcefully, just they want to do it. They want to be like, I want to take care of you. It's okay. I know for me too, not just my husband, I also have a wonderful family that supports me. Like when I first got diagnosed, my mom and dad were like, okay, we're going to throw out all the junk food. And I had to educate them, being like, it's not just the food I eat, guys. It's genetics. Because my mom was when I was diagnosed, my mom was borderline diabetic. So she was just taking metformin and watching what she eats and start working. And she was fine because she's, again, but she's also, if she had kind of teetered to diabetes, she would be classified as a type 2 because of her age, right? But then I found out as I got diagnosed that weekend and I was hospitalized for an entire weekend, my mom was like, yeah, so grandpa was also a type 1 diabetic. And I'm like, that would have been nice to know. But nobody else I know is affected. Oh, sorry, and my aunt. So there's the 4 of us on my mom's side that is affected.
You're not,
I know. I was like,
now you almost got a whole starting lineup.
Yeah. So, but I've only, but my grandfather, I don't really talk to anymore. So I can't really talk to him about his diabetes history. But like my mom and my aunt, they're the same. None of them are on insulin except me. So it's really fascinating to me to see that. The other really cool thing was, Diabetes Canada before the pandemic had they have their conferences, they have wonderful speakers. And I'm lucky, I'm really grateful, not lucky, I should say. I'm really grateful I live in a time where our diabetic tech is so far in advance. Because I'm sure you know this, back in 50s, 60s, man, I don't know if I can inject myself with those massive, those needles, they're massive, and I don't know if I can do that. That's, again, it's the whole, I can't believe you guys can do this kind of a thing. It's that same thing with the kids being so resilient as a diabetic and being proud of it and showing off their tech. It's something I admire very much. But I know back in the day, especially because I think the guest speaker, she lived in, I want to say she lived somewhere in South America. So insulin access wasn't as easy as well. And so she was saying how she remembers her insulin needle. You had to keep it refrigerated or kept in a cool place. But because she lived in a really hot country, it was really hard to keep it cool. So sometimes she would have to take insulin in warmer than room temperature. And to hear and to see her standing there thriving, is like, holy crap, it's like staring at like a superhero in real life,
Mhm.
because to see all the stuff that they went through, and be able to tell it, that's, to me, like, it's like, so I used to work in long-term care and nursing homes. So whenever I meet veterans, it's that kind of feeling. It's like,
Right.
I feel so honored to meet somebody like that. And so I just think we are really lucky in this day and age where my diabetic tech is smaller, and not like I can just pop my insulin, like my auto infusion set, and it sits in there for 3 days, or sometimes more, depending. um, so I just think that technology, diabetic tech, and insulin has really come a long way as well.
It has. And
Mhm.
yeah, keeping that set for 3+ days. That's why, because I get supplies for the community and I donate them.
Mhm.
That's why to my left I have 4 totes filled with tandem T-Slim supplies.
Oh,
Like seriously. But
good for you
again,
for doing that. That's wonderful. And
I
I
remember
just,
when I didn't have access to everything, or I
hmm
wasn't educated in how I could get it if I needed it, where I had to
hmm
search diligently before I was able to just get like a vial of insulin. So
hmm
I always tell people like no one goes without on my watch. If I know,
hmm
uh, whether it's me reaching out to the community or myself, like sharing supplies, like I will do it.
hmm
Just yesterday, so this will be an episode that comes out right before yours. I recorded with a young man from Uganda,
hmm
Ivan, and Ivan, he feels as though in Uganda, like he has a privilege because he's a lawyer, um,
hmm
and he has access to like medical supplies, but still his access to medical supplies, he states, are like 30 years behind what we have
hmm
in North America. So he's like, yeah, 1 vial of insulin. He's like, during the pandemic, him and a group of his like friends, they call themselves T1D warriors. They help out like throughout the whole country of
hmm
Uganda. They would ride their bikes to give insulin to like young kids who were in need.
hmm
And he's like, every day here in Uganda, there's someone who's who chooses to walk away. And I'm like, huh? He's like, they choose
Walk
to
away.
walk away and disappear because of the burden that type 1 diabetes has placed on their families.
Oh.
And he's like, well, he's like, these people will go missing. He said, we don't know where they went. He said, but that's how it is. He said he remembers when he was diagnosed at I think at 15, yeah, 15 years old. And he said his grandma would wake up 4 o'clock in the morning to make sure that his meals were prepared for the day because he was going to a boarding school. And his dad would drive him to the school because he could no longer stay there because he had got this diagnosis. And he said, well, I never ever thought about like all of the things that my grandparents, my parents had to do for my own life, uh, for my well-being.
hmm
And I said, for them, it probably wasn't a burden at all because you're their baby,
hmm
you're their child. And he's like, yeah, he's like, but I need to have a conversation with them and just thank them because
hmm
he's like, because the work that we put in here for these young people in Uganda, he was
hmm
like, it's similar to what my parents were doing for me. And I said, yeah, I said it was natural. I said they showed you that. Like you grew up with that
hmm
love and support of community and peers.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like 1 vial of insulin. He's like, if I got a vial of insulin, it's not just mine. He
Mhm.
said it belongs to me and the community.
Good for him. I can't believe that. That's so sad to hear that he would go and visit and they would just disappear. Like, that's so sad to hear that. And this is where that component of like insulin should be free worldwide and accessible to anyone
Mhm.
and everyone, because no one should have to choose, no one should have to be alone going through this unless they choose to do that. But they should not feel that they're not supported, and they should not have to choose between they're a medication that saves their life, or anything else. I'm sorry. Like, I think anything that's life-saving needs to be free and accessible all around the world. So it doesn't matter where the heck I am. Like, I know, kind of dipping into this, but I know that like insulin in the US is much more expensive than it would be in Canada. Canada is it's reasonable. You can buy it over the counter as well, I believe. But I know in the States, when you do that, it's ridiculously expensive. And I think there's this whole thing. We're not going to get into it, but it's just an example of like, that's something that it should not be that expensive. No, like it shouldn't be like, and it breaks my heart to hear that other diabetics around the world feel the need to disappear because they're being a burden because they don't have access to something. That's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous in my ears, in my head.
It truly is.
Hmm.
Yeah, access should be available to everyone.
Hmm.
Especially when you consider like most of the people for years were thought to get this diagnosis were thought to be young children.
Hmm.
So right then and there should have been there should have been federal laws, global mandates that if someone's diagnosed, then we have to be able to produce insulin for them.
Hmm.
Like, I understand the economy and growth and wealth and all of that, but we're talking about life.
Hmm.
Like a person who does have money and a person who does not come from any type of fortune at all
Hmm.
still here have to pay the same amount.
Yeah, and
Like, it makes zero sense.
I agree. Makes absolute zero sense. And you're right. At the end of the day, it's all about making money. That's what it is. And I really wish pharmaceutical companies can see the negative. I mean, I'm pretty sure they see. They're just choosing to kind of be blindsided, like no, tunnel vision about it. But like, you need to see what the effect you guys are doing to make money, and like how is it affecting the essentially the world, not just the community, just the world.
Yes.
Because like, again, back to Ivan, who in Uganda, he's in a country where it's like you said, it's not accessible, it's not easy for him. Like, he can't just go to his local pharmacy and be like, hey, I need insulin. I'm assuming he has to probably search for it. I don't know,
Yeah,
like, I don't know how that
there's
works.
literally no manufacturing plants anywhere near that
Yeah.
produce insulin.
So he has to get it mailed in, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
right? So, and that again takes a while, right? So he could be with, like, people are living without insulin for possibly weeks or months, and that's not
Mhm.
right. That is not right. It's just, I don't know. We live in a really greedy world, unfortunately. But like, I've always said this, where like, life-saving medications need to be free, worldwide, internationally. Make a law with worldwide health and be like, these are the medication that should be free all around the world, accessible to anyone and everyone. We're going to support it. But what do I know? What do I
But
know?
we try and we do. We got to continue to just align ourselves with other communities
Hmm.
so that because we have our own community within us
Hmm.
where we're like, okay, if I wasn't able to get insulin, I know who to contact. I
Hmm.
know what I know how to reach out to my endocrinologist team, diabetes educator, whatnot, and explain to them, and somehow we'll figure this out.
Hmm.
Now we need to take that one person who is me, that one
Hmm.
person who is you, reach out
Hmm.
to someone else. Like reach out to Ivan
Hmm.
and let him know, okay, I may not be able to ship insulin to you because
Hmm.
of tariffs and the border,
Yeah.
everything. I said, but there may be someone within Africa in a higher ranking country such as Kenya,
Hmm.
Ethiopia,
Hmm.
um, that may be able to get it to you.
Hmm.
So we got to use our privilege we have here in North America of
Hmm.
being able to reach and communicate with
Hmm.
others so that that burden can be lessened for them.
Mm-hmm. That's a really great way to kind of that's a great way of what we were collectively saying earlier. Like we need to essentially share. That's what it is, you know? And we're
Mm-hmm.
taught from young age, sharing is caring. And I think as we get older, unfortunately, people tend to forget that, you know, and especially with something as, like I said, like we'll say insulin because we're talking about it, something as insulin. It's not hard for me to be like, here, I can give you like I use pens for my pump, right? So I'll be like, here's five pens for you. That should
Mm-hmm.
be, I don't know how long it's gonna last you, but at least that gives you a couple more days. And I can sacrifice that because again, I'm lucky I have private insurance. I get a certain amount of insulin. Um and I remember and then like you said, like I remember when I didn't have that. But like you said, I had resources. I was able to talk to my diabetic team and say, hey, I'm running really low. Can I please come and pick some up? And they're like, yeah, come pick it up. We'll give you as much as you want. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people don't have that. And it's really tragic. And I think also there should be kind of like sites where medication like that should be accessible to anyone, even in communities that don't have that kind of luxury of going to the pharmacy. Like just have like a site where you can have all different types of life-saving medications so people can come to you in those neighborhoods and places being like, hey, I am a diabetic, I'm running low on insulin, can I have a box? Here you go, take it. That would be a wonderful world if we live like that.
It would be
But
an amazing, and like I think like you have it in you. I have it in me. Like
yeah.
Betsy, put it in fruition. Like make it happen. Like create your own community
Yeah.
because we know we all like every few months we have an excess of insulin like that's just sitting there.
hmm
And we're like, oh yeah, that's just in case the zombie apocalypse does occur.
Yeah.
But we know that's not going to occur.
Let's
But
hope not.
yeah, like and a great issue and problem is not to get political is
Mhm.
like a lot of the greater nations when it comes to like finances and border control and protection. A lot of those nations are big bullies now.
Mhm.
They're big bullies, seriously,
No,
where
I'm agreeing with you.
and they're under control of like their leaders are bullies to where they're like, I'm not worried about them. I'm just
Mhm.
worried about me right now.
Yep.
Not worried about the future, not worried about the past, just the
Mhm.
now.
Mhm.
And it's so crazy. Like we know, like growing up, like in the 90s, if we needed something within community,
Mhm.
we can go find it within community. Someone could knock on your door, you can knock on their door, you could just mention it to a friend, a teacher,
Mhm.
whoever,
Mhm.
and you were able to get those resources.
Mhm.
But today, everyone's
Mm-mm.
like, mm-mm, I ain't, nope.
It's become a society of me, 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 me. I first, me, 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 me before anyone else. And I agree with you. We used to live in a time where, you know, I could knock on my neighbor's door and be like, hey, I'm kind of out of sugar. Can I borrow some sugar? And I'll pay you back with another bag of sugar. And my neighbors at my parents' place would be like, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's sugar. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And they could come to us same thing. Hey, we're going away. Could you please keep an eye on our house and get our mail for us and then come give it back to us? There's not much of that now. And it's really sad to see that. We live in a world where, you know, it's a me, me, me society. It's all about me first. But and it's even I catch myself in this. Um, when someone does something nice for me unexpectedly, I'm kind of my first thought is always like, why?
Why?
Like, you know, like why? Like, and it's someone I don't know. Why? Why? Like, why you? And it's just that's the kind of world we live in now. When it's like, unfortunately, some people do take that as an advantage, right? And I don't want to think that every person that does something nice for me unexpectedly does that. But the first initial thought is, why? Like, why? And then, like you can, it's because we're not used to it. It's
You're like
even holding
me? For
Yeah,
me,
yeah, even holding the door to like hold the door for somebody. It's rare now because the often one rare time I see someone do it for like if I'm walking behind somebody and they open the door, like they hold the door for me. It's very like, oh, thank you. But when I hold the door, the amount of looks I get, they'll be like, oh, thank you. Like, I'm like, did you forget the please and thank yous? They go such a long way. And,
Mhm,
and I think that's just unfortunately, I think also after the pandemic, it's become much more of a
mhm.
me because of the pandemic. We were isolated for like what, like 2 years inside almost, it feels like. So it was all about like me protecting myself and my family and my loved ones, but you don't really think about the community. So I definitely agree with you. It's not like that anymore. I miss it. But again, I also get caught of like, why? Like, this is weird. Why are you opening the door for me?
Yeah, those pandemic years we will never get back.
Yeah.
Especially for like our young people. Like my
Mm-hmm.
kids are my kids are a little older now,
Mm-hmm.
16, 14, and 11. But when I think back 5 years ago, uh, they missed out on a lot of
Mm-hmm.
interactions with people. Like you
Mm-hmm.
cannot get back those 2 years. So a
Mm-mm.
lot of the children today, people say, are selfish,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to call them selfish.
Mm-hmm.
They're a product of their environment.
Mm-hmm.
Through those 2 years, a lot was missed interacting with people. The only interactions they truly had were like through visuals, like electronics.
Yeah.
Uh, you may go outside every now and then and look for a neighbor, but
Yeah.
you really didn't care.
No. I will say, I think so my stepson, who I call my son, he's 17, so he's probably like the same age bracket as your 16-year-old.
My oldest
So
son.
yeah, so he graduated grade 8 virtually, and that was kind of like his grade 6. Yes, you have your graduation, but grade 8, you're going into high school,
Right.
and it was so sad to see a bunch of kids on my TV at home in their suits and their dresses. So, and
Mhm.
they're like, this is stuff they would have worn if they were at the graduation, but they're wearing it at home because of the pandemic. And right when my son started high school, it was like, that's when it was like, okay, we're gonna slow like the first so September to December it was virtual, but then January hit. And I think this was 2021,
One.
2022. They were like, yeah, 2021. They were like, okay, we're gonna start in person, but everyone's gonna wear a mask and blah blah blah. And then it was his first year of high school, and this was the first time seeing everybody 6 months past what should have been in September. They should have met everybody by now. In September, they should have been like, I like you, no, I like you more, blah.
Right.
So to see that, it was so sad because I remember when I started grade 9, I went there in September, kind of figured out who I liked, who I didn't like, and by January, I was hanging out with the people I liked, right? He had to do that 6 months, like 6 months back, like delayed. And it was really sad. And my kid is naturally shy. So here he is, like he's like, trying to figure things out. And of course he had friends from like elementary school, right? But like we told him high school is like a brand new world. Like you meet new people,
Different.
you meet so many different types of people, you learn new interests you never thought you were ever going to learn, and but he's thriving now, he's next year, like this year, he's going to university. So it's like, he's thriving, which is wonderful. But my niece is part of that new, I think it's called Alpha generation, right? You know how there's like millennials, Gen X?
Uh-huh.
She's Alpha because she was born in 2018. So here
Okay.
she is like entering that stage. So when, she's used to that kind of confined world. So once we started going out to the restaurants and everything, and I will always remember we went to a restaurant, obviously 6 feet apart and whatever, and she'd go to the bathroom. So we go to the bathroom and she hears like the hand dryer for the very first time. It's so loud. She starts screaming because she's never heard of it before, So here I am being like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like, is it too hot? And she was like, it's too loud. And she's like putting her hands in her ears and she ran out and I had to run after her. And I'm like, oh my God, where are you going?
Six
Don't do
feet.
that. And she's like, oh my God, you're fine. Don't run. So like, and then I had to really connect the dots of like, oh my God, she's not used to this. This is a brand new world for her. So it's like it's like it's like a lot for a 5-year-old, right? You're like yay high, and you're this loud sound blaring at you, and it's just the fan trying to dry your hands. Now she's okay. She's gotten a lot better, obviously,
Hmm.
but like she grew up in that time where it's like she was confined at home and she had to learn everything and be isolated a bit. But now, she's thriving. Like a lot of people, I hope they're thriving after the pandemic. Um, I was lucky during the pandemic, because I worked in healthcare, I was able to leave the house every day. But to see the world, what it was then to now is so different. You're like,
It's
oh
so different.
wow. Yeah.
It's so different.
Yeah. And
And I think during that time, a lot of people relied on leadership in government to tell
mhm.
them like what they could do as far as like how you can move around and things. So a lot of people today are showing their true colors
Yeah.
because they align themselves with those people in government instead of actually being able to form their own educated opinions about things. They were like, "Oh, I'm just going to line up with them," and
hmm
it's horrible.
Yeah. And they're all yes people. Like one person says
Yes.
something and there's like a line of people. And I also notice, well, not notice, but I know people won't do anything about something like diabetes, the funding for diabetes, until somebody in their family is affected by diabetes. And then they see, oh yeah, I can see, okay, yeah, I want to make sure something gets done about this. I don't, and it's like things like you shouldn't have to wait until a family member in your life is affected by this. It should be just known. Like you guys should know that any chronic illness that needs life-saving medication or whatever should be free. You shouldn't have to make a law about it. It shouldn't be something you should discuss like after how many years insulin was discovered, right? So that's just also my opinion.
Right.
Not to get too political. Sorry, I'm across the line there. I'm so sorry.
It's all
But
good. It's all good. You're just sharing your truth. Like seriously, we should all be able to share our truths
Mhm,
unapologetically, not
mhm.
having to worry about someone removing us from off of the social medias. But
Oh.
yeah, you grew up in Canada, correct?
Mhm.
What province?
Ontario, in the Toronto
Ontario.
area. Yeah, Toronto
Big city.
area.
Big
Big
city
city.
blues. Oh,
Yeah.
they not like us.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that was so great. You know what's funny is I'm a K-pop sing like I listen to K-pop, and so when I saw like that like
Oh, hold
halftime
on, hold on.
show,
I gotta write
oh
this down because I gotta connect you with Tony. Tony, the young lady in China. Um,
oh
she's actually black,
oh okay.
but
Oh, I
her
think I
grand
might
like
I might follow
she's
her. I don't know. We'll see.
from the Bahamas, but she's lived in China for like the last decade plus, but she
hmm
traveled back and forth because her grandfather is Chinese. And
hmm
she's a big K-pop fan.
Oh, I love K-pop and I love
Big.
K-drama. That's how
That's
me and my best
her.
me and my best friend, we will actually make time to like watch. Like like she lives like I live in one little town and she lives like a couple like maybe 45 minutes away from me, and like we would call each other and be like, "Are you watching this? Okay, we're watching it together." We're on the phone watching on Netflix a show, and that's what we do. It's just one of our many bonding things. But
Mhm.
so I listen to K-pop. So I don't know. Unfortunately, I'm not cool where I know all the popular songs. I don't know the newest songs, unless it's K-pop related. So when I saw the halftime show, I was like, "Oh, this is really great," you know. And then all of a sudden, I heard him say, and then when you hear that song, and then he looks at the camera and says his name, I was like, "Oh
Hey,
no!"
Drake.
I was like, "Oh no, I know what this is about." Like, it was just like it was really good. But yeah, like yes, I live in Ontario, Canada. I live in the suburbs, so about 20 minutes outside of downtown Toronto. But yeah, like that's it's just been and healthcare in Canada is great. Like when I had my DKA, like I was able they saw that they recognized the science, they admitted me right away and they kind of gave me insulin right away. They gave me all the stuff I needed to kind of get out of DKA, right? And I'm really lucky that, I live in I am grateful I live in Canada. Our healthcare system isn't great, but it's there and it's accessible to me when I need it. And I'm really lucky too that my diabetic team here now, like my first diabetic team was in one suburb, but I moved to another area, and I have a new set of diabetic like endocrinologists,
Hmm.
diabetic nurse, and everything. And I'm really grateful that they look out for me as well. Because of them, I'm actually on. That's how I got onto the diabetic tech. So I was like, I think I wore Libra too. I started off with the Libra, and then once I was qualified to go onto the insulin pump, they asked me if I wanted to go on it. Then they were like, well, you have to get off Libra because it's not compatible with the tandem insulin pump. You have to go on Dexcom. So that's how I got into Dexcom. And I have a love-hate relationship. I admire, I don't know where you wear Dexcom, is that correct?
Yeah.
I wear it on my abdomen because I'm terrified of putting it anywhere else
You know what's
because it will.
crazy? I will not wear it on my abdomen
Oh, okay.
because I used to get so many compression loads from it being on my abdomen
Oh.
area.
So do you wear on your arm?
Um, is it on my arm right now? Yeah. Right now it's on my arm. Yeah, for the most part, my arm.
Yeah. I'm terrified to put it anywhere else just because, like I said, I'm a tripping hazard. And the amount of times, and the amount of times I've called Tandem, and I will say the customer service for Tandem, I talked to a lot of Tandem American customer service representatives,
Hmm.
all amazing people, all super supportive. And the amount of times I called in because of the tubing getting caught on the door is ridiculous. Like, I don't know how. I tape it on my body and somehow it leaks out and still gets caught. And I'm like, how is this physically possible?
It's
I taped
like
it to my
door
body.
handle. Let's go get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Like, let me just yeehaw it to the door handle or something. It's irritating. But I will so like I'm terrified. So I keep it all near closer to I figure if it's closer to my body, I could hide under a shirt. It should be okay. Um, but that's the wonderful thing. Those technologies, it's amazing, and I wish this type of technology was available when we first were diagnosed, like 20 plus years ago. So it's technologies. It's still going. Like I follow a couple people on my page. There's this one particular individual, I forgot his name, but he goes out to these diabetic conventions and look at the newest technologies for diabetes and the amount of things that he shows. It's amazing. And
Diatech.
yeah, dietech. It's amazing. The stuff that they're coming out with, and it's just wow. Hopefully there'll be a cure one day. Fingers
Look,
crossed.
we will get
Fingers
into that
crossed.
conversation. We will get into that. But I have a note right here. Because
Hmm.
you were diagnosed at 22,
Hmm.
17 years ago. You say we didn't get much into that story of your diagnosis. I must
Oh.
know, because I know how it was for me. How can you give me a tell me about your
So
diagnosis story?
so this is something I don't tell a lot of people, but when I was that age, I was trying to like break into acting, and I was trying like I did all the courses and whatever. And so my appointment was a Friday. That appointment was a Friday. So building up to it, I like the week before I auditioned for something for an independent film, and I got the lead role. But then they're like, "Oh, we're going to film it that weekend." So I'm like, "Oh, I'll go to my diabetic appointment," thinking it's gonna be an hour. I'll be fine. Not realizing they were going to admit me all weekend. So I had to actually call them and cancel and tell them I can't, I'm being admitted to the hospital, and I never got to film anything, and I kind of stepped away from that world after that. But yeah, so I was diagnosed, and um they admitted me on in Canada it's Victoria Day, Victoria long weekend, so May 24 weekend. So it was a long weekend, so it was a holiday, and I had all these plans, and obviously they fell through. And I just remember like they had to teach me, right? So this was back when it was like finger pricking manual injections. So they were telling me you could put it in you could take your manual shots in your stomach or abdomen or your thighs or like your arms, anywhere that's fatty.
Mm.
And I remember I was doing it all on like my thigh, and like I kept getting these like big calluses because like when you're injecting, oh yeah, yeah, and you can't it's like if you don't if it's not deep enough, it kind of hits like a muscle and then it kind of builds up like a little insulin ball. So they were saying you can't do it in your thigh anymore because it's not working. So that's when I started doing my abdomen. And I just remember, I just remember thinking, okay, this is my life now. This really sucks. Like being like, again, like I'm 22 and I had just started what I thought was going to be my new act, hopefully was my trajectory, trying to be an actress and maybe trying to break into the film industry. And yet this happens. And now I'm thinking in my head, I burned that bridge with that one director. They're never going to hire me ever again. So here I am not thinking about that. And then I just remember thinking, how did this happen to me? Like, why did this happen to me? Like, what did I do? I didn't do anything wrong. Like, I play soccer competitively 3-4 times a week. I eat, yes, I have my occasional sweets, but I eat right. I eat healthy, and I'm thinking all these different things. And then I remember just feeling like, okay, so I have to take shots now. Oh, great. Oh, great. What's people going to think when I have to take shots out in public? Oh, what's people going to think when I have to prick my finger in public? Oh my God. Like, so all these insecurity questions were popping into my head, right? And after I got home, and I was also I had symptoms of like a type 1 diabetic, like you knew. So like I was severely underweight, I was excessively thirsty, and because of that, I had to go to the bathroom a lot. And I wasn't clicking on the clues because no one ever told me these things, right?
Did you think it was a different sickness or illness?
I just thought it was, I didn't know specifically what I had, but I knew I was sick. And I think I posted a picture of me doing a photo shoot of me that's sick. I look really skinny, and that's what people, I'm like thinking that's what I want to look like one day. But then I think back, I remember that photo shoot so well. I was constantly thirsty, constantly going to the bathroom. I was exhausted, even though I slept like 12 hours the night before. And I remember I just remember thinking like, this is not right. I should be at this photo shoot being like, I'm so excited. I'm healthy. Well,
And full of
as healthy.
energy.
Yeah, full of energy, and here I am just being like, just give me, I need water. I'm sorry, guys, and just being like that burden. Like I said earlier when I spoke to you, just thinking I'm being that burden. Oh my God, they think they're never going to work with me again, this and that, right? So I remember also like just crying 2 days after being diagnosed, like after I got home and I kind of lived my new life. And a couple of days after that, I remember just bawling my eyes out, just being like, this is so hard. This is not what I signed up for when I wanted to live my life and blah blah blah. Um, but yeah, I can't swear it, but it's definitely a mind bender of your head of like try to wrap your head around. And I think and it goes with any chronic illness, but when you get diagnosed with something like that, with anything, you have to wrap your head around it. And it's hard to wrap your head around it. Because even though there'll be days I'm thinking I'm thriving, and then there'll be days I'm like, I am mentally exhausted with diabetes. I don't want a diabetes today. I don't want a diabetes today. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to bolus today. Well, actually, no, I always bolus, but like I don't want to eat anything that could affect my sugar levels today, so I don't have to bolus too much. Or I can eat or I don't bolus because I know control IQ will save my butt. So like, you know, I have days like that, and even till this day, I have days like that, and
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 that's
I really,
valid. It's real.
yeah, and I really enjoy what diabetics call, and I'm sure you know this term, which is a naked shower. I really savor those shower days where I don't have to worry about diabetic tech on my body at all. I can just enjoy a fully naked shower. So like those little moments where everyone takes for granted,
Right.
I savor. It's like also like I remember I really miss the days where I don't have to count my carbs. I could just dive into my food once it comes out on the table. But I have to sit there and be like, okay, let me bolus it. You know what I mean? So just little simple pleasures that everyone takes for granted, but like I have to, and I also have to calculate my drink, right? I always get diet, but still, you never know. So I have to put a little bit in there for that too. So just
We deserve a moment of where we can just like bury
mhm.
or have a memorial service
Yeah.
for that diagnosis,
Mhm.
serious because I know like young people that are diagnosed, like let's say if you were diagnosed before the age of 6 or 7, this would
Mm-hmm.
be all you knew, all you
Mm-hmm.
know. But you diagnosed at 22, me again at 20, like
Mm-hmm.
we knew everything.
Yeah, we thought we knew everything.
We knew everything. Like you could not tell us. Like, but then this came and now
Mm-hmm.
first we have the physical part of it where we're like, oh, that's why I wasn't able to gain weight. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I the frequent urination and thirst. But then we find out like, oh, there was this psychological, emotional, mental toll being played on us also. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not something like most people find out until years later. They're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh,
Yeah.
I did not
Eh,
know that.
But at the same time, our time when that happened, there wasn't conversation about that. They were just like, this is your diagnosis. This is what you got to do. Go. There was no support to be like, how are you feeling? Tell me mentally what you're going through. Like, what are you processing? There was nobody
Hmm.
there to say that. And I'm not saying that the endocrinologist and my diabetic team back then didn't do that, but like, you know, they would ask me, how are you feeling? Am I really going to tell you how I'm feeling? No, like, you know, it wasn't available where people it felt okay to talk about my mental struggles as a diabetic, being newly diagnosed. Now, I'm really hoping newly diagnosed diabetics feel comfortable to say that. I had, I forgot her name. I'm so horrible with names. I'm terribly sorry. I had somebody message me on Instagram the other day, like last week, and she messaged me. She's like, "Hey, I just got diagnosed last October, and I don't see any of the LADAs. So I saw your page, and I just really want to say, what you go through and blah blah blah." And I felt honored that she trusted me to be that person for her, for her to comfort me. So I told her, "Hey, let me ask you, how are you feeling? Like, don't ask
Hmm.
me yes, I'll tell you my experiences, but I need to know where your mindset is. How do you feel about
Empathy.
being yeah, like how do you feel about being diagnosed? Like I can't. It's a stupid question, but like you have to ask that, right? Like I have to be like, how do you feel? Like what support do you have? Like what can I do? And I'll be like, you know what? There's other LADAs out there. Like another one I follow, she was is this wonderful lady. I think her name is I remember her name is Goddess Glucose Laura, and
Hmm.
she was diagnosed when she was 35, in her 30s. And she's this wonderful, wonderful individual that posts amazing, hilarious memes, and I love her for it. But like I told her, she's another LADA. There are so many LADAs out there. You're not alone. You could come to me at any time. And then she's like, well, what do you use at the tech? And I told her, I'm like, but you need to find what works for you. She's like, is there a wireless one? So I told her about the Omnipod. That's the only one I know. And I said to her, don't be afraid to ask these questions to your endocrinologist, but just know, like, you have a community here. And at the time, 20 years ago, we didn't have that either. Like no Instagram, no Facebook, no nothing. So I didn't meet another diabetic till I think I want to say late 20s. So here I am going on like 8 years. I think it was when I started wearing my Freestyle Libra. I remember this. I was getting my nails done, and it was summer, and I was wearing my Freestyle Libra, and some person came up to me and it's like, I'm wearing one too, and I was like, oh my god, so sisters. Like it was just like you felt it's like an instant connection,
You
and
found your person.
yeah, and I haven't talked to that individual in a while, but we still follow each other on Instagram, and that's what people need to see, especially people who are newly diagnosed as young adults, as any age, as a LADA or whatever, right? And I'm really fortunate to be part of the diabetic community, and I only started my Instagram page like 6 months ago, and the amount of connections I've made has made me feel so heard. And on days when I'm like, I don't want diabetes today, and I kind of look on my page and I see all these wonderful people just talking about thriving, it kind of switches me back into being like, okay, I guess I can diabetes today. You know what I mean? Because you see that love and support and you want that and you want to see that, right? So, yeah.
That's I mean, you said it from the beginning. Like, that's the type of people and community we should all have.
Hmm.
the kind that love us, that support us, want to help us along this journey. And that's what we do within this space, the diabetic online community. We come together. I can't wait to like be able to like when I have meetups, like I have quarterly meetups, and I like anticipate these meetups, like being able to be in a whole crowd of people that are like me, because that's where we can be truly unapologetically ourselves. Like we don't gotta worry about anything. Like
Yep. Yeah.
you hear the beeps and
Yeah.
alerts and like it's like beep, like
It's like
all the time.
we're diabetic musicians with our alarms.
Right, like you just walk by someone and you'll be like, "Oh, your reservoir is low." And they're like,
And you're like,
yeah,
oh,
it feels so
oh,
good.
guys, I'm having a low. There's a table right there. I'll get it for you. I'll be back. And that's what's so nice. And that was the one thing I really enjoyed too, was going to that diabetic conference before the pandemic, was just a room full of diabetics. And at the time I was deciding, I was teetering to decide Tandem or Medtronic. And I remember just talking, and I don't want to, I mean, yes, representatives, they do their job. They have to do what's on paper, right? But I want to talk to someone who's actually on the system. Like, tell me who's actually using it. So I could be like, what do you do when you work out? What do you do when you sleep with it? What do you do when you eat? And how do you blah, 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 blah. And it was so refreshing to be, like you said, in the room with just your people. And it sounds like we're an exclusive group. We sort of are, right? Like in a way, like it's a wonderful community and it's a wonderful group. And it just feels nice to be with people who can be real with you about diabetes. Because I could explain, I don't know if you do this with your wife, but I know I do this with my husband, where I could be like, I'm so frustrated. I bolus this and I calculated it was right. And why am I getting a low? And da da da. And like I'm talking about frustration, and he listens and empathize with me, but he doesn't understand it. Like
He doesn't
he
got the
can
feels of
try.
it.
Yeah. He'd be like, well, okay, well, I'll just get you more pop. I'll get you more this. And I'm like, I don't need that. I don't want that. I just, and then when you voice your frustration to that same frustration to someone who is diabetic, it's a completely different feel. You just feel so supported. You feel heard and acknowledged. And I think with anything in life, that's what we want, right? But to talk to someone that understands that, I remember, like I said, like I started this page 6 months ago, and I remember just meeting, as I following more and more diabetics and more reach out to me and talk to me. When I hear their struggles, I'm like, oh, I know exactly how that feels. And then I voice my frustration. And then they say, I know exactly how that feels, girl. I feel that frustration too, And it
You're
just,
being validated. Like
yeah, it's just that feeling of I'm not alone. That's what it is. I'm not alone. And that's what's great about social media in that sense. There is a positive, there's many negatives and there's many positives, but that is one of the major positives is, people are branching out with any chronic disease. In our case, it's just the diabetes community, and people want to help. They want to, they want to help you in any way they can. And I love that. And it definitely has made me feel more comfortable. Like I've kind of was comfortable with my diabetes to begin with, but it's made me more comfortable to be like, yeah, this, show it off, show off my tech. I don't care. Like, you want to know what's the, again, this might be teetering too much information, but I keep my pump in nature's pockets here. It's just easy. It could get it in and out, and
right.
people, they should not be afraid. You can ask me. It's not a pager. I don't live in the 90s anymore. It's not a pager. So it's okay for if someone sees me pop it out and they stare at it, I ask them like, do you want to know what this is? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry for staring. It's okay. If I saw somebody dip into their chest tube to fish something out, I'll stare too. It's human nature, right? But be curious about it. It's okay. Don't just stare and be like, what the heck is that? Stare and be like, I'm just curious. What's that?
Ask a question.
Yeah, it's okay.
And
I'm not
that's
offended.
something, I mean, we were taught like growing up, like from our elders, like don't just stare at someone's face. If you got
Hmm.
something to say it or ask a question. You can't just
Hmm.
stare at people and like, because in your
Yeah.
head, because in their head, they're
What's
like,
that?
what's going on? What's wrong with that person? Like, no, ask me what's wrong with me. Like,
Yeah,
don't just stare at my
don't be
face.
afraid. Yeah, don't be
Right,
scared. And
right.
that's where that open conversation, that's how it starts. Because if I could at least explain, I don't know, it could be anybody. If I can explain to somebody what I do, I think the most information they'll retain is Betsy's a diabetic. like they're going to be like, she's a diabetic. That's what they're mostly going to take away from. Oh, she wears something like a pump. Like that, I've heard that too, where people have been like, yeah, they said that you're that red-haired Asian and that's a diabetic, and you wear some kind of pump that you keep between your boobs. I'm like, yep, that's me.
Yep.
That's me.
Pump me up.
That's me. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you're
exactly me.
reminding me of something when you just speaking. You're like you said I'm not alone.
Hmm.
There's someone in the diabetic online community. You're fairly new to this space,
I
so
am.
you can grab any one of my followers or the people that I follow, and I'm going to invite you into the group also.
Oh,
But
thank you.
Kiana Drew, I don't know if you're familiar with her. Kiana was diagnosed at 21. And she's been diagnosed now for I think 22 years.
Mm-mm.
And her daughter Lily was actually diagnosed 3 years ago. But
Hmm.
Kiana, she's a singer and
Mm.
actress. Um, she has a song out called "You Are Not Alone." That's diagnosed
Oh,
diabetes and the people in the
okay.
DOC. Yeah, you are not alone. And she's actually been in some like major, well, yeah, major films. Like you may know this title because you're a comedian. Um,
I'm not a comedian.
there was a movie came out maybe 20 years ago called Pootie Tang.
Oh God. I remember.
She's in that, and yeah,
Oh, that's
she was a part of a
wonderful.
female R&B group, and yeah, you have some similarities because of the
Oh,
acting, diagnosis, the age, and so I'm going to make sure I link you with her.
well, thank
If
you.
you don't know, like that's what I do in the community. I link people. Like everyone always reaches out to me. They're like, "Will I so and so was just diagnosed." I said, "Oh, I know someone from there." Like you can name
Hmm.
any place in the world, and I can
Hmm.
tell you a group of diabetics that live there,
Hmm.
and I can directly like connect you to them because that's what
Hmm.
I do. I love building communities. I love building this space where we can be unapologetically ourselves because
Hmm.
we know beyond those who love us most, um, to everyone else on the outside world, like that whole diabetes thing is like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why are you talking about it? Like, why are you showing that? Like, I don't,
Yeah.
like, it's
Yeah.
diabetes
Yeah.
because of the media's perception of it.
Hmm. And I really want to thank you for reaching out to me because I I sadly never heard of your podcast. I'm so sorry. I'm admitting I'm a truthful individual and I've never heard of your podcast until you reached out to me and I listened since I was like, "Oh my God, like I how could I not have ever heard about this wonderful individual that is a wonderful resource of that's connecting diabetics as well as a wonderful resource for everybody." And we need more people like that. And it's so wonderful. And I can't thank you enough. And this has been an honor to talk to you. And
We need more people like you. And as we wind down, I just have one last question for you. Um,
mhm,
you've been living with diabetes for the last 22 years again.
17
Diagnosed.
years.
I mean, I keep messing that up. I'm thinking about my years. You know
I'm
why? Because
sorry.
March 10th it'll be 22 years for me.
Oh, see, there you go.
That's why I keep thinking that. But
I'm sorry.
you've been living with diabetes for the last 17 years. It's
Hmm.
almost grown. Like you celebrated a sweet 16th last year.
I didn't even celebrate it.
Like no party, no nothing. But when it turns
No.
18, you gotta do
Yeah,
something.
it becomes an adult, a diabetic
Yeah,
adult.
right. Let it go to a PG-17 movie.
Yeah.
Like
I'll
something.
treat it to Pootie Tang.
There you go. There you go. But we've seen because you're on social media over the last couple years, like the research and sciences behind finding a cure. And there's
Mhm,
been people that have been living with functional cures for some time now. And they're
mhm,
actually working on being able to have this functional cure without the use of immunosuppressant drugs. And I see it coming like in the near
mm,
future.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it'll be readily available for everyone, like my friend Ivan in Uganda.
Yeah.
But as I told Ivan yesterday, I said, I will give up my cure for you if I have the
Mm-hmm.
option because I have the technology right now to
Yeah.
better manage. And he was like it almost brought him to tears. He was like,
Yeah.
but I told him, as I told everyone, there's going to come a day when you wake up and I wake up. Chelsea wakes up. Ivan wakes up. Kiana wakes up. I'm naming everybody who I've mentioned. Tony wakes up. Betsy and Will, we wake up and we find out that we've been fully cured of diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
No more insulin, no more technology, and everyone in the community is cured. Like it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
On that day, you find out you've been fully cured. What do you do?
I'll probably cry of happy tears. I'll cry of happy tears and sad tears, and I'll tell you why. So happy tears is wonderful. I don't have a chronic illness anymore. My pancreas amazingly woke up and decided to work again. So I don't have to carb count. I don't have to, like you said, no insulin, no injections, no more whatever, no more beeps throughout the night. I would be sad because of the amazing community that we'll all be leaving. And I know people say all the time, we'll keep in touch, we'll keep in touch. And it sounds really, I mean, I don't know.
This is our
Diabetes,
club.
I know, like diabetes is it, yeah, exactly. It's our club. It's what connects us. It's kind of the root of why we all connected in the first place. And if and as wonderful as that is, that will be gone. And I'll see you as Will. I'll just be like, hey, well, what's going on? Hey, not much, this and this. It'll be like a 5, maybe 10-minute conversation. Whereas we've been talking for what, like an hour, almost like an hour and a half, maybe a bit longer.
Mhm.
But we had such great conversations. And I think that's what I'll be sad about is as wonderful as I want a cure for diabetes. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted, everyone. I want a cure for any chronic illness out there, especially diabetes. But I'll be a little heartbroken knowing that our club is disbanding because these are people that understood my struggles, that understood my frustration, that understood everything. And yet here I am and being like, okay, guys, peace out. We're good. Like you live in wherever.
Right.
But I would probably be like you. And if I had a choice to give up a cure for somebody much more in need in a country where it's not as accessible, I probably would do the same. I could be like, give it to them first. I'm okay. I can wait. I can wait. I have accessibility to everything. Give it to other people first. I'm not in a rush. I'm okay. And I think I really hope that day, because I see a lot of articles of that too. And I'm like, I want to believe it. But until like science actually proves it back, I can't. Until I hear from my
Mhm.
endocrinologist that tells me yes, it's cured. We're gonna cure you of diabetes. To me, it's a pipe. To me, it's a pipe dream, and it's a wonderful dream. But I don't. I love our community. I love it. It's so special, and it doesn't matter what type of diabetes you have. Like you said, there's type 1, type 2, type 1.5, there's LADA, there's gestational, there's MODY, there's type 3, there's type 3C. There's so many of us, and diabetes is what connects us. And I would be so sad. And my best girlfriend, when she was pregnant, she actually had gestational diabetes, and she's known me as a diabetic. She said to me, like kind of after her daughter was born, she was like, I didn't tell you I had gestational diabetes, did I? And I'm like, no, you didn't. And she was like, I admire what you do. I only had to live with it for 9 months. The fact that you've been doing this since 22 and you do it every day, and I look at you and you're thriving and you, excuse the language, kick ass in life. That's what she said. I admire you. I cannot imagine that. And that's one of my oldest best friends telling me that. She doesn't have to fluff my tail to like, she could tell me I'm being a total B one day and I'll be okay with
Mhm.
it. for her to be like, I admire what you do and this and that. I'm not saying that's a reason why to stay in the community, but when you hear things like that, it makes you want to keep going and keep giving forward and keep speaking out and be that voice for people to be like, wow, I lived 9 months in your shoes and I got out, but you keep going. That is that is the definition of a warrior, and as a definition of a strong individual, however you identify yourself, man, woman, them. And that's something that keeps you going when you're like, that's something to remember when you're having those hard days too. So I'll be happy, but I'll be heartbroken at the same time. That's kind of my answer.
Truly understood. I'm just going to let you know on that day that cure is here, I'm definitely choosing the cure over not over the community.
Yeah.
But I know that we'll be able to do so much more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'll be able to take from the experience of living with type 1 diabetes for so long, for
Mm-hmm.
living with LADA for so long, Modi, all of these insulin-dependent diabetes for so long. We understand time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be able to maximize our time.
Mm-hmm.
We may be on to the next thing, helping cure the next ailment, the next illness,
Mm-hmm.
helping with that community, letting them know how we came together. The
Mm-hmm.
millions came together and supported each other from afar
Mm-hmm.
and helped them in lessening that burden.
Mm-hmm.
I just think about like Edward Scissorhands. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be able to do so much more.
It's
Yeah,
true. You're
yeah.
right. I
On that, go.
Oh no, I was saying I agree. If you could cure diabetes, you can cure any other chronic illness out there, and that would be a perfect world we live in. But you know,
You
I
you
get
can keep saying
inspired.
but. You can keep saying
Uh,
but.
I get inspired by individuals that thrive and show that like their chronic illness doesn't stop them. I get
It does.
inspired, and I don't think those that should stop.
Right. It
But
doesn't. It's a lived and learned experience. And I'm going to let you know you're the first person to know this that the last episode for the month of March, I'm recording with a young lady who is working towards a cure.
well, that's
She
exciting.
she's been working on it for the last 10 years. And
Um,
yeah,
I can't wait
so
to hear that episode.
we'll but again, Betsy, my sister, I told you from the beginning. Um, within 20 minutes of the conversation, you knew we were family, right?
I know. Well, I knew we were family yesterday when you messaged me that too. So I felt my little burden princess mode kind of went down. I was like, oh, okay, he sees me as family. We're good.
We are. We are.
I can't thank you
That
enough. I can't thank you enough for this wonderful opportunity to speak with you about diabetes. I don't rarely get to talk about diabetes like very often. And this was such an honor. So thank you for taking the time and keep doing what you do. Endless love.
received. I appreciate you. On that note, Betsy, my sister, thank you for joining me on the Chronically Will podcast, where we have real conversations with community that needs to be heard because you are truly someone that needs to be heard.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
taking the time. Have a
Appreciate
great
you.
day.
Go handle your business.